Alright folks, so went ahead and started tearing apart our 351 Windsor here. Got all the pistons, got the crank cam and everything out of it. And I'll kind of show you all the verdict and what's what with it. And this thing was right on the verge of not surviving. So this thing had a lot of water in some of the cylinders and all. And this thing was borderline of not surviving. Now, of course, you could have went to machine shop and bored it out to maybe 40 over. It's already 30 over. The rods, I double check and verify if the rods, if all of them, I've seen some of them are resized, and some of them are .001, and all the mains, I've already checked, they are .001, and I ended up having to store the time chain cover and a couple other things, unfortunately, to get it all apart. Got some broke off bolts, so I got a little bit of stuff I got to do to get it out. But this cylinder right here, cylinder number 4, I believe, this one right here almost didn't make it. I did go in there and lightly hone it just a little bit, but you know, I didn't want to go too crazy, but just to make sure it's going to clean up. But it's got a little bit of a ridge in the block, super light. So, yeah, it's not terrible. I don't know if this thing, it's already bored 30. I don't know if it would go 40 or not, but either way, I really don't want to go 40 over on it because, you know, again, it's my area, it's almost $2,000, you know, to just in machine work, and that's not even counting parts. That's, you know, buying pistons and, you know, boring it out, honing it, resizing the rods, turning the crank, line honing it if it needs it, decking the block, you know, the whole 9 yards. And you know, we just want to get back and forth to work. We don't want to break the bank. But this is 351 Windsor. So 351 Windsor right there, and that's an old galley plug back there. But this one spot on the block is a little bit worrisome. I'm not sure if it's just casting. It's got that little hole right there. So, I don't know, that's old. I guess it's just the way the block was cast. So, and obviously it was like that before, so it was, this block's been bored and everything, so if it passed that, poured on the machine shop, it's probably fine. But anyway, lift bore seem alright, and, you know, I knocked some trash and all down in here, but, you know, put this thing away and get this darn thing out of the darn river here. But, they pulled the crankshaft out while this thing was in the river here during rain here. But let's go take a look, see what we got on the parts. Alrighty, so here's the time chain cover. Unfortunately, I did have to destroy it, but it is what it is. I got a new one, so I'm not that worried about it. But got a bunch of broke off bolt stuff. I had to destroy it darn thing, get that thing apart. And anytime you do a water pump on a Ford, you better just plan on buying a bolt kit and getting all the bolts out, buy your time chain covers and the water pump and the whole 9 yards, and you might as well buy a balancer too, because any time chain set, you might as well just redo the whole front of the engine. But yeah, you're gonna go through all that rigmarole. Same thing with the Dodge 360. So anyway, it is what it is. I'm not too worried about it. But it is an 83. Yeah, I believe it's an 83 time chain cover. So anyway, seals. A little hard, but it's a tiny bit pliable. But so that's what we got there. Got all the pistons out. This is the passenger side right here. That's the passenger side. That's driver's side. Main caps. Obviously 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there's a balancer right there. We'll get to that. So all the pistons came out pretty easy. So it wasn't too bad there. But some of them were a little bit tight. The wrist pins were a little bit tight, but they did loosen up after wiggling them around a little bit. But this piston right here, I believe number 4, yes, number 4 right there, that one had water in that cylinder. And you know, keep in mind this was stored outside out in the weather under a tarp. And you know, you really need to kind of make sure, get this thing, anytime you have an engine or anything like that, you really don't want to leave something like that outside, especially under a tarp. That draws humidity, and yeah, it's not a good situation there, but I believe it's going to clean up. So the rings do move, they do spin. It's hard to do with one hand here, but that one does turn. Oil rings, they will turn. Just hard to do with one hand. The compression ring did turn too, so they're a little bit stuck, but they do turn a little bit, so they're not completely junk. But the thing I can't figure out is I'll go through all this rigmarole to rebuild a motor and all. I don't know if this was just a manufacturer that rebuilt this thing, or if somebody actually took this to the machine shop or what. But personally, I would have went and put flat top pistons in it, especially if you're going to bore it out and all that. So I don't know why they run disc pistons, but I guess they want to keep the factory, keep the compression down. But personally, I would have put flat tops. I like to run Keith Black with 2-valve release flat top pistons, but at the minimum, I'll at least put flat tops in it, even if it did have 4-valve release. But that's just my opinion. But the main bearings, they definitely got some wear, so definitely got some wear there, so not too good. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and thrust bearing's not too bad. Still thick on the edges there on both sides, but it's definitely got some wear. It's got some wear, so oil filter had to destroy it, get it off. And I could not get that thing off there. I had to end up destroying it, get that off there. So rear main seal is still pliable a little bit. So there's our one-piece seal there. So anyway, there's our one-piece seal there. This is a one-piece seal block. And so anyway, I don't know if somebody machined this carburator or what. I don't know. Kind of got machine marks. So I don't know if somebody did a machine shop or what, but looks like it might have been a machine. Maybe that's factory. I don't know. But in case you're wondering, these bolts right here are 7/16, so that's what that is. But a lot of the rod bearings are, they got some wear and all on them. They're dirty too, so they look worse than what they really are. But definitely got some wear on them, that's for sure. But it's got copper on a lot of them showing there. But, yep. That's about all of them. So I'm gonna put all new bearings in this thing. Cam rod, main bearings, all that stuff's gonna get replaced. So I don't want to fool around with it. Put on new bearings and all in it. Top bearing, part of the bearing usually takes most of the abuse. So, hence why that one's wore a little bit more than the other ones. But yeah, they're definitely worn and dirty. So I'll show more of a close-up of it. There you go, that's a little better. But pistons do move though, so that's good. So most of the rings are free on it, but I had a couple pistons that weren't, but most of them are, for the most part, are free. But our balancer was definitely on its way out. That's why I never reuse a balancer. I don't ever use a balancer, but not a used one. But that seal was about ready to come out, and don't ever play with the balancer like that, because them things are super dangerous and they will fly off and go through your radiator and have a really bad day. And nobody wants to be sitting on the side of the road. That's not cool. So yeah, it's dangerous. Don't play around with your harmonic balancers. Replace it. Don't ever sleep it. The way I look at it, if it has a groove right here, like this one does, the best thing to do with this balancer here, what you want to do with it, is you just take this thing and just do that with it in the scrap pile. That's what I do. But there's the other bearings there that were in the block. But this is number 1 right here. 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, they got a little bit of wear on them. Thrust bearing, still a little bit thick. This did have an automatic transmission in it, so didn't take a lot of the abuse like a manual transmission. Every time you're pushing the clutch pedal down, where it forces the crankshaft forward. So theoretically, some of these there might be a little bit less wear. Some of these rods here were resized and some of them aren't, and some of them are not in the correct order as well. So we're going to put it back together exactly the way I took it apart. So chances are the machine shop probably just had rods that were laying on the shelf and they just resized a few of them just to piece something together. So that's what we got there. Time chain was definitely sloppy, so pretty sloppy. This is definitely wore out. It's got a groove kind of. It's hard to see. It's got a lot of surface rust on it, but it's wore pretty bad right in there, and the edge of course ain't, but definitely wore out there. So we're going to replace all that, time chain set and all that. But it's like it says S431, whatever that is, and S430, and so it does say made in USA on the chain. But I don't think the block's ever been line hanging or anything like that, so that looks pretty good there. So I'll show you that here in a second. So yeah, it definitely had some wear on it, that's for sure. So our camshaft really didn't look too bad. I don't see any white lobes out or anything, just normal wear. I'm not going to use this camshaft, and I'm definitely not going to use this, especially being a flat tablet. We'll replace it, and I'll try and spend a little bit of money and try and find a better quality if it's such a thing. These things are just a can of worms nowadays. They really are. It's super hard to find a good one. It's not Chinese junk. But, you know, you gotta, I'll try and find maybe a Howard's or something like that, something a little better quality, you know. I know it's only 2-3 camshafts in the world here that, you know, actually manufacture these things. And, you know, it is what it is, but there are dogs over there. Sorry, y'all. But, don't look like it had any wiped out lobes or anything like that, so I think it'll be alright. And this one is a, does it really say G? Oh, it says GWC. I thought it said GMC. That'd been funny. GWC. S913. So whatever cam that is, S913 is what that is. So, but anyway, I don't know what crankshaft it is. This is definitely concerning here. It's got me a little bit worried. And I think they just polished this because they are .001 on the rods and mains. I double check, make sure all the rods are the size bearings are .001. So I'm thinking they just polished the crank, to be honest. And the bolt right there, it's got a groove right here. It's got a little bit of groove right here on the main bearing. But the rest of them don't look terrible. You know, I don't know, that's kind of weird there. So, look like the bearing never even touched there. But it's more wear there, but not in the middle. I don't know what's up with that one. Kind of weird. I've never seen that, but yeah, that was kind of got it too. Maybe that was a high spot or something. Maybe it's a low spot there on the bearing, and then it's high there and there. I don't know. But snout looks alright. But I think the crankshaft's going to be alright, hopefully. So let me gentle here. So hopefully this thing will be alright. It's just filthy dirty. Look like they might have chamfered the journals, maybe. So I don't know. Maybe they just chamfered it and polished it. I don't know. So I'm not sure. But you can definitely tell it's been hot tank. Like us. Try to describe when you hot take something, it gets it so clean, it gets into the pores of the cast iron and super cleans it. And even when you run it later on, you can kind of always tell if the engine's ever been hot tanked before. If it's, you know, theoretically speaking, in a perfect world, you know, it's super clean on the inside. So I'm not sure how to describe it, but I can always kind of usually tell if something's ever been hot tanked or not. So, but yeah, the bolt there, it's got a groove there. So I'll just measure it up, and I don't know what I'm gonna do here. I might buy a crankshaft kit, but then again, it might open up a can of worms. I don't know yet. Really don't want to go to the machine shop because I really don't have the money to spend on all that stuff. So, but I know you can buy a sleeve for this to correct that. I know that. And this is a one-piece seal, because if it was a two-piece, this flange right here, I guess you would call it, is a little bit bigger. I know on a 302, not for sure on a 351 Windsor, But on a 302, this is definitely on two-piece seals, a little thicker. This little ring right here is a better way to say it. It's a ring. But and then on the one-piece seal, it's a little thinner, kind of like this one here. So I don't know. I'll check it out. So it's got a little groove right there. So 10C, whatever that is, I don't know. I was trying to find the cast iron. This is a cast iron crank. I was trying to find the casting number, WSM. I don't know what that means. But I don't know. I was trying to find something on here, but I can't find it. 10D. I guess that's what that is. Looks like 10D. 44. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't see anything over there. So, I don't know. I'm not sure. So, alright, yeah, be gentle, gentle, gentle. There we go. But, gear don't look bad on the shibber. Don't look like it's tore up any, so that's always good. Don't look like it's been chewed into. Trying to find the drive side. Yep, maybe turn a look at it. So it don't look like it's too chewed up. Really doesn't matter anyway, because it's not going to use that cam anyway. But yeah, this engine almost didn't make it. Almost didn't make it. So I ended up pulling the heads off of it, and it was about 4 cylinders that were just absolutely full of water. So this thing, I tell you, this thing got very, very lucky. This thing, folks, this thing almost didn't survive. Now, in the real world, yes, you could have took it to a machine shop. A normal person would do that. And you could have bored it out, and it would have been perfectly fine. If it would go 40 over. If it would go 40 over. Since it's already 30. May not. You know, it is a Ford. Keep that in mind. Not knocking Fords, but the thing with Ford, though, you got to keep that stuff in mind. These cylinder walls are not very thick. So, and yes, I know, and I don't know if it's 100% accurate or not, but I have heard a rumor that if it was a 1974 or earlier 351 Windsor, that they could probably take a 40 to 60 over bore. 60 is probably a lot on a Ford. I think that's where a lot of this stuff comes from, is people kind of, I guess you would say, get nervous when you bore engine 60. And you know, on a Chevrolet, on the a lot of the newer blocks and all, 80s, 90s, I don't know if I'd do it, but something older, you know, on the big three, you know, I don't think I'd be as scared. But that's why you always sonic check it first. And you know, you always want to check it thoroughly, not just one spot on the cylinder wall, but thoroughly on all of them to make sure it can take it. Or you can just, you know, sleeve it and put it back standard. But or just sleeve it and put it 30 over, you know. So, you know, it's some options you could do. The thing about it, though, is I don't know that since this block is 30 over, I think that, you know, you had to bore it again. And I don't know if it'd be enough meat there to be able to bore it to press the sleeve in. So, I don't know. But I have to bore it out a little bit to match the sleeve. And then you want to press fit. And then I guess they would bore it again to make it 30 over. Or put it back standard. But then again, if you bore it 30, you don't want the walls, the sleeve too thin, then it kind of defeats the whole point of doing that. So, anyway, let's look at the heads here. So, I'm not for sure what balancer this is. I know on the early stuff, a 28 ounce is on the Ford 302, and on the newer ones, 50 ounce. I don't know, you know, on the 351 Winders, but this thing was definitely, like I said, it's about ready to go out. The time chain was wore out. Main bearings were, you know, on the verge of going out there. The pistons, some of them were tight. That's probably just from sitting around. Seal is a little pliable, but it's starting to get hard, so probably had a little leak there. Had to destroy that. That was over tightened. Time chain cover, had to destroy that and get that apart. But I think this thing's going to clean up. It's got a little bit of a ridge in it. It is a 351 Windsor. But like I said, machine shop probably, you know, past that before. That's been like that. It's old, you can tell. It's probably fine. So the distributor hole's right there, and it comes right down behind the china wall. So maybe that's an old drain back hole. I don't know. I'm a little concerned because that's higher than what that is. So I don't know. But hopefully that's all right. I'm a little concerned about that. But it's been like that, so you know, apparently it's probably fine. But it's an old galley plug back there. But I think this thing's gonna be all right. And yeah, this one right here, number 2. Like I was saying, this one was full of water. There's a distributor hole. That one was full of water. That one was full of water. That one was full of water. Well, no, this one was halfway. This one was full. And that was full. That was about halfway. And we had a couple of these. This one had a tiny bit in it, about maybe that much, about an inch in it. And that was dry. That was dry. That had just a little bit of moisture and all in it. That's how it all was when I pulled his and all off of it. So anyway, but I think it's gonna clean up. So hopefully it clean up. It's got a lot of stuff in the water jackets. Yeah, just drop that down in there. That's all right. But I'm gonna take this thing and run it to a car wash. Got my dowel pin there. And I do have the other one stuck on the cylinder head. That one's intact. That one's gone, but it's in the cylinder head. But I think this thing will clean up. So yeah, I think it'll clean up. But it had a tiny bit. It's hard to see, but I don't know if it'll show up or not. A little bit. If you look right there, it's hard to see. It's definitely, it was maybe 5% of the crosshatch still there. So, I did this one just to kind of clean it up there a little bit. And kind of see it, but so it definitely, you know, this thing was definitely wore out. So, but this side over here, yeah, they're all about the same. It's got a light, like see there you go. Get like that and kind of see the cross hatching a little bit. Get that old stuff out of the way. So, yeah, barely there. So it's definitely got a little ridge in it. You know, realistically, it really needs to go 40 over if it'll take a 40 over more. But I mean, who knows? It might not even clean up at 40. But and what I've kind of learned on these 351 Windsors here is, think about it, is, you know, they really can only be rebuilt maybe once or twice. That's about it. You know, it's where with the Chevrolet or a Dodge, you might be able to get a little more rebuilds out of them. But I've kind of learned that with a lot of these small block Fords, is you really can't. You kind of limit it on, you know, how much service life, so to speak, you can actually get out of these, you know. And they're not getting younger, they're getting older now. These 351 Windsors are getting kind of hard to find. They really are. And, you know, I didn't even realize this was a 351 Windsor until I got it home. I thought it was a 302. And, you know, I got home and started looking at it and all that, and I seen this boss right here, and then that one right there, and the deck height. See, on the 302, this boss right here would be flush with the deck of the block. And we got, I believe it's a 1/2 inch of longer stroke, I believe is what this has. I think. So it's about a 1/2 inch longer stroke is what this thing has versus the 302. But I got to figure out how in the world they remove these oil filter adapters, because that one's round all the way around. So I don't know. I don't want to mess with it. I'm not going to mess with it. I'm just going to flush it out. But I like to figure out how to do that. Look like, I don't know. It was silver at one time, the silver or gray Ford, and then I see blue. So I don't know. I'm assuming somebody missed it on there. I don't know, but I'm going to clean this thing up and hopefully get all these darn bolt stuff out of it. We can get all the bolts out of it, get all the fleece plugs and all out of it. I'm going to put new cam bearings and all that. The cam bearings don't look too bad. Yeah, it's hard to see because all that dirt and stuff in there, but they don't look too bad. I nicked them up a little bit, but they don't look too bad, you know. So, but yeah, I'm just going to clean this thing on up here. And we'll go and flip this thing up. I don't think it's ever been line honed. A lined honed. I don't think it has. Yeah, the Canterbury's ain't bad, you know, just dirty. I nicked it up a little bit on that one, but I'll put all new cam bearings in it and see what's what. But yeah, it's silver. That's the original color there, was silver. Maybe it was painted all blue at one time. I don't know. I think it's just overspray. I think it's actually painted that silver gray color, 4 gray, whatever it is. But there's a number right there, E4AE-6015-FA21, and then that's 6L22. So if you're interested there, but yeah, these things are kind of thin there, so got a little bit cross hatch in there. But yeah, they are polished, so but I think this thing will clean up. So it's like pretty clean on the inside. Now I've got knocked some dirt and trash down in it, but I'm gonna run this thing car wash and flush this thing. But yeah, I don't think it's ever really. I don't think it's been. Maybe, I don't know, but I don't think it's been a line honed personally. But I know the older blocks you can machine this area out and put a 1-piece seal in it. Me personally, I'd rather have the 2-piece. That's just my opinion. I don't care what anybody says, because in my personal opinion, they're a little bit better and they're less likely to blow out, where the 1-piece on this can blow out and dump all the oil out. So, you know, it's pros and cons. Neither one are really any better than the other one, in my opinion, in the real world there. But yeah, I don't know how in the world it comes out of there. I hope this ain't cast as part of the block, because that would suck. But there's nothing wrong with it, but I'll be super careful with that. But these are the deep cut ones, so hopefully that don't interfere with the jackets there. Don't think it would. But we'll have fun getting all these plugs out of there. We gotta get that one out. That one will probably come out. But better not jinx it. But I'm gonna get all the coolant jacket plugs and all out of it and just kind of clean it up. One thing I do like about these blocks is it's not like Chevrolet, where you had 2 plugs on the back, and if they ever leaked, then you'd have coolant in your dust cover underneath the transmission. So I like it. It's all 1 piece back here. The only thing that could leak is maybe that plug there in the oil galley plugs. But yeah, this thing, I don't think they did a lot to it. I think it just bored at 30, resized a couple of rods, and just kind of pieced them together, and put new pistons and all on it. And they punched at 30, and that's maybe about it. The deck's definitely been surfaced on it. So I don't know how in the world you tell how much meat's been taken off. I don't know on that, but I think I don't know if this was somebody took this to a machine shop and had this done, or if they just bought it from a retail store. I don't know yet, so we'll have to see on that. Yeah, this poor old 351 Windsor, poor thing. It's probably the only YouTube video you'll ever see on here where somebody takes apart and tears down the 351 Windsor in the river. But the head's definitely been surfaced, so, but this head's set out a little bit, so I'm gonna get ready to put them away and all that. But it's got a little flash rust and all on it, but the valves don't look sunk or anything like that. So, but you know, I don't really see anything really wrong with them. But these are E5AE. So if you're wondering on that. And E5AE, I don't know what the compression is on these things. It's probably not a lot, especially with that disc piston. Me personally, if I went through all the trouble, I would have put a flat top piston in it. But yeah, the valves don't look too bad, you know, just carbon stuff, but they don't look sunk. The exhaust valves is what takes all the abuse, but just tiny valves, tiny ports. These heads are not really a good flowing head, in my opinion. Ford never really made a good flowing head. GM, the Vortec head was, you know, they are way overrated. I don't care what anybody says, they are way overrated. Double humps will outflow them all day long, especially when you port double humps. They have way more meat in them. You know, good luck trying to port a set of factory Vortec heads, you know, without busting through on them. But they were, you know, good heads for the time. And then the Magnum heads were good heads at the time too. They had a nice heart-shaped combustion chamber, you know. And Ford never really had good cylinder heads, in my opinion. They were always choked out, small valves and small ports. You know, I'm not knocking the Ford. I'm just, you know, saying my personal opinion of it. You know, whether you agree or disagree, that's just my personal opinion. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, the heads ain't perfect, don't get me wrong. None of them were, of the big three, but Ford's heads, you know, especially in the missionary, were just, you know, not very good heads, because at least with GM, they started out with power pack camel hump heads that had decent compression, you know, for what they were, flowed decent and all. Then they got into the small gear, and then they went to open chamber. And then in the late 80s on the TBIs and the Vortec era, the 96 up, they finally started making a heart-shaped combustion chamber on the 96 heads up, and started, you know, improving it, making it flow better, a little better compression, that kind of thing. Of course, they had the crappy dish pistons, but the heads improved, where Ford, you know, they made improvements, don't get me wrong, but they're kind of still turd heads. But, and with Dodge, kind of the same thing. So they kind of, you know, were good heads, and they kind of went downhill a little bit, but they ended up improving them, you know, by the 90s and all. But with Ford, yeah, you know, they had improvements, but that's just my opinion. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video on up here. Hope you enjoyed it. And, you know, this is pretty much, you know, everything we got here. The camshaft, you know, I don't think it had any flat lobes or anything like that. I do have the lifters, and I ended up taking all them out. And most of them came out. I had one of them that didn't quite come out, but I did end up getting them all out. But the lifters, you know, really didn't look that bad. So, and, you know, anytime, I would love to reuse this cam. Personally, it's probably way better quality than what you get nowadays. But I'm going to end up just putting a new cam and all. And I'll just, if I got to spend a little money to get a better quality cam, I don't care, I will. I might get a Howard's cam, something like that. Again, there's probably only 2-3 manufacturers that make camshaft in the world, but, you know, but if I can, I'd really like to get a roller, don't get me wrong. A roller, you really need to put a roller cam. You know, that's pretty much mandatory along with hardened seats. But, you know, for unleaded fuel and all that, but it's, you know, a lot of money, so. But at least with the Ford, you got the cam retainer plate that retains the cam in, so that helps. It's just the, I really like the factory roller setup. If I could put the tray in it and, you know, convert it that way, that's what I'd rather do. But, I don't know. I'd love to put a roller and all in it, but, you know, might open up a can of worms doing that. So, but might get a crankshaft kit. I don't know. But I'll probably end up just find maybe a RV cam or a stock cam. We'll see. I want to be careful about that. But, so don't want any of the lobes hitting the journals on the crank or anything like that, so I don't want to go crazy on it. Might just get a cam a little bit bigger in stock. Might get a crankshaft kit. I don't know yet. We'll see. And I'll definitely get another oil filter. I'm going to put a Wix oil filter on it. I got another time cover. I'm going to clean all these pistons and all up. They weren't all in the correct order, but I'm going to put them right back in there, right back in their home where they came back out of, and that's where they're going to go. I'm going to get new bearings for it, and rod bearings, all that good stuff. Definitely going to get a balancer. Balancer's junk. But, yeah, definitely that's dangerous. That thing will fly off and go through your radiator. So don't play around with the balancer. The best thing to do is just take this thing and get rid of it. So I'll get a new timing chain set and all for it. Try to get a double roller. If it'll work, I don't know. I'll look into that. But that's definitely going to get replaced. That's wore out. So but did clean up some of the pistons and all on them. Took ATF, cleaned them up. They look kind of like that and that before. And I got some of them cleaned up. But they're not perfect. I just cleaned them up a little bit. I got to clean up the rest of that carbon stuff. And they are all 30 over. So, but I'll tell you, this 351 Windsor, I think it's going to be alright. You know, might not be perfect, but I think it'll be good for what I'm trying to do here. And it's a whole lot better than this 351 Windsor, because the 351 Windsor I bought, the first one I bought, had a cracked cylinder head, 2 busted pistons, and you know, it was just pretty much junk. And I don't even know, it is standard bore, I don't even know if it'd go 30 over, because the pistons, 2 of the pistons were gouged real bad, and it just rough. So got 2 sets of head bolts now. So I got a pile of extra bolts, and The first one I basically ended up, and this head's even questionable still, have maybe one cylinder head that's good, and a standard bore block that may or may not go 30 over, so I don't know. But the 350, if you're wondering, I bought a while back. That thing is absolutely beautiful. See, that's been hot tank. I ain't even cleaned that crank. That's how clean it was when I took it apart. But I mean, all the bearings look nice in it. Nice. So I did buy all new bearings and all. That's another project. We're gonna get that 350 and hurry up and get that thing back together and be done with it. So I don't know. I could slap the other crankshaft in it, I guess, if I want it from the other 351 Windsor. Maybe, I don't know. It might mess with it. I don't know. I'll see. So that may or may not be a good idea. It might throw the balance off, and bearing clearances might not be right either. But this balancer came off the first 351 Windsor, and it's intact, but it does have a groove on it. But it's getting replaced. This is the first time chain set. Now this one's a little better shape. Just full grease and sludge and everything else, but this one's a little better. So I think between the two motors here, we can piece something together here. That was a little cleaner, so they are the same. So this one's got way less wear on it though. That one's got way more wear on it. It's hard to see, but it's got way more wear. It's got an edge on it. This one really don't have an edge. This one's weird because came out of a 92 E 3/4 ton van, E250 van there, and the block is actually 87. So I don't think that's the original motor that came out of a 3/4 ton van. I don't think it is, but it might have came out of there, but I don't think it's original to it. So, but yeah, I think between the two we can piece something together and make something happen here. Yeah, I got two retainers now, so yeah, these things are getting hard to find. They really are. It's hard to find a good 351 Windsor or even a 302. It's just, you only get so many rebuilds out of it and so much service life, you know. I mean, that's on everything generally, but at least with the older small block Chevrolet, yeah, that thing's 60 over, so it's probably been rebuilt 2-3 times. Where this Ford, you know, you can rebuild it you can rebuild it at least once, you know, and that's, I won't say 100% guaranteed, but you know, at least, you know, it's most highly likely you can at least get one rebuild out of it. And two, you know, it's kind of a little iffy, but on Chevrolet, you can definitely, you know, go 30, 40, and 60 on it, and, you know, be all right. Now, I don't know if I'd do it on a newer Chevrolet, but, like getting the 80s and 90s on those blocks, but the older ones, they can take a 60 overboard, where the Ford, I definitely wouldn't do it to that, but looks like they will have 2 time chain sets, so this be pretty cool here. So we're gonna have double everything just about. So I might buy one more 351 Windsor, we'll see. But I really love getting my hands on a roller block, but them things are pretty rare and hard to find. I think they only made them from 94 to 96, 97ish, and I think that's when Ford pretty much got rid of the 351 Windsor. I'm not sure when the last year was. I think it was 96, maybe 97. But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, we'll get back on the 351 Windsor.